GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com. Oh, I'm muted. Okay, let's start again. And welcome everybody to a conversation about the Amazon Influencer Program. This is a conversation kind of not quite impromptu. I invited a few people to join me who are in the program. And the idea here is to talk about it, offer some answers to questions that people might have, and then chat a little bit about it from a realistic perspective from people that have been in the program for a while. The goal here would be to see if this is something worth chatting about. I'm a big fan of collaboration and going live and doing things on the internet together with others. So, to explore that with this Amazon influencer realm, and then to see what interest there is out there with our audience and the audiences that might be reached by this, and then to find from other influencers that are out there if they're interested in having conversations like this, joining us on these conversations. So far, it's been an interesting project and something that it's been fulfilling in more ways than one compared to other things I've done online over the years. But without much getting into it from my angle here, without getting too much into it, we got a lot to talk about. Like I say, I've invited a couple of people in. I got Jeff here from Gear Report. Thanks for joining.
Yo.
And then a couple other people, if they get the link or if they got the time, can join us. And if we do one of these in the future, they're welcome to join us then. Or if you're listening to this and you'd like to be part of a chat like this, get in contact with me or Jeff. All right, so with that being said, I don't know if you want to introduce yourself or anything like that. Feel free to. How would you... Well, let me bring Gizzard in. Gizzard is jumping in. So Gary's joining us. Thanks for jumping in.
You bet.
So let me just do this so that we don't have to put you on the spot. So we each have YouTube channels. I've got I've got quite a few YouTube channels. This is my second largest YouTube channel. This is a gear channel that's been around since, 2000 and early 2000. Well, whenever YouTube started up, I started this one. And then kind of been on the back burner as far as my projects go for a number of years. So it's not that I'm reviving it, but I'm putting more effort into this channel again after many years. I mean, I've got 3,000 to 5,000 videos on this channel and 20,000 subscribers, all from pre-2013, really. So, I do some things on this channel, but I just play around on this channel. But the people that I've invited have put more effort into their stuff. So I guess backwards, Ghost has just joined us out of Arkansas, full-time job. Use YouTube as artistic release and I guess a part-time job. I don't know what you want to describe it, but using the Amazon Influencer for a couple of months now. Gizzard retired, using YouTube and other everybody's using all the socials, but using YouTube predominantly to host live conversations weekly. Podcast. I guess Ghost has a podcast also. But then Gizzard's, again, been in the project for this year, maybe a couple of months. Then and feel free, you guys can edit your intros. I'm just trying to make them concise, I guess, so we can get past it. Jeff's been working on affiliate stuff for a long time through websites and things, has the Gear Report network of websites and socials. And you've been using Amazon for a long time, the influencer thing. I don't know how long you've been doing the influencer thing.
Well, that's kind of interesting. I've had an influencer account for probably 4 or 5 years Like when they rolled out Influencer, I had already been in the affiliate program for probably 6 or 7 years, and they just kind of included me. Like I didn't get invited to Influencer. I didn't have to apply. It was just like, here's a new tab on your Amazon Associates page for Influencer. Please go use it. And I messed with it a little bit, but the on-site video portion wasn't available at that point. So I didn't see much use in devoting time and energy to it at that point.
But Amazon being one of the many affiliate things you worked with, it fit into a larger piece of the puzzle. And now at this influencer video part, the Amazon video aspect of the influencer program, which we'll get into the details here. There's some layers to it. You've been more active, for about 2 months? So about same as me, a little bit less than Ghost.
I got approved for the on-site videos 2 months ago, about 2 months ago. And it's funny that probably a year and a half ago, I was stumbling through some influencer stuff in the background Amazon tool, and found the ability to do that and applied for it. And I did something wrong that kept me from getting in. Like I just forgot to link my YouTube site to it. And rather than say, we'll let you in, but you have to let us know what social media account you're linking to it as an influencer, instead of telling me, hey, you've applied 3 times and, 3 strikes, you're out, basically. Instead of telling me at any of those times, you never even filled this in, fill it in with something and then we'll evaluate it. They just let me apply 3 times without filling it in and then said, too bad, go away. So I had to create a new account, and I did that I started messing with that in March, and it took 3 tries and failed, and then realized what I was doing wrong and fixed it and got in on the first try. But that was mid-April. So I've been thinking about this intently for probably 4 months, but only doing it actively for 2 months.
And I think that kind of explains the difficulty in explaining this, right? So Jeff's been using Amazon for a long time. I guess I've been using it since 2006 or something. And then different experiences over the years, but same thing. They just one day gave us a new tab and didn't really make a bunch of do out of it. That got developed into Influencer, and now there's this other stuff. So essentially, we're going to be trying to delve into the complexity of it. Before we dig in too much, did I miss anything? Do you guys want to say hey or do anything before we kind of just dig in? I know I kind of did a piss poor impromptu version of introducing everybody.
I'd like you did great.
I'd like to point out that Ghost and Gizzard are wonderful, and they were also part of the Gear Report team. And G, is
in the mail, buddy.
He's a cousin of Gear Report. Not actually in the family yet, but
I think you've invited me, and I just haven't ever done it because I've got a billion other things I'm doing too. But yeah. Eventually we'll connect something. So anyway, thanks everybody for joining us, and we're all know each other for a while. I tried to explain that we've all kind of been doing different things in the similar path. We're all going in the same direction as collaborators. Is that the right word? Just friends doing things in the same direction. But this new thing has come along, and I wanted to first let people know that there's a lot of hype about it. There's a lot of information, misinformation, delusion, optimism, pessimism. And that means there's just a lot of opinion. How do you decipher it? So I just wanted to give us an opportunity to throw some stuff out there to the people that value our opinions on this kind of stuff. And then, like I said at the beginning, if we can find new people who are bringing other perspectives and other experience that'd like to be in part of the discussion, then that's awesome too. Especially a system like this where there's rules, there's parameters, but within those rules, we can do whatever we want. Kind of like YouTube, there's things we can and can't do, but go nuts, do what you want to do. You can follow people, you can cut new ground, you can try things, or you can, do new stuff, but working with other people and getting feedback, seeing how they do things, tools they use, and the successes and failures they've had makes it more fun and more effective. So anyway, that's the goal here. I think you kind of described it there, Jeff. So there's different levels to Amazon. I think the biggest overall way to describe what we're talking about here is Amazon, very large company. Does anybody have any? I was going to look this up and I didn't do it. How big a footprint Amazon is? I know they're smaller than Google, right? Or are they I don't know, how does it even rank anymore? I mean, they're probably one of the top websites though. Somebody knows or wants to throw that out there if somebody's watching and happens to know that.
I don't know what size their website is, but I know that they did surpass Walmart as the biggest retailer in the world.
Amazon actually bought Alexa, which was the thing that used to keep track of all the websites for a long time. They bought it and then eventually trashed it. So now the thing that used to be historically the thing that keeps track of the order of the largest websites or keeps like who's running total or whatever, the most views and that kind of thing, is all gone. But essentially, we're talking about a huge company that we can all be aware of, their presence online. You can be a customer of theirs in lots of different ways, either buying products or being on Amazon Prime or something like that and watching videos and listening to Audible or books on tape and whatever else they offer. Or you can be an affiliate. And being an affiliate is if you just go to any Amazon page and scroll to the bottom, there's going to be a link there to be an affiliate. And Jeff can probably explain this better than I am. What's an affiliate with just in general and then with Amazon specifically?
It's a non-employee that promotes products or services of a brand in return for a piece of the action, so to speak. So in the case of Amazon products or services for that matter, the idea with an affiliate is you get a link that is tied back to you. And if someone clicks that link and goes to, say it's a product, goes to that product page, makes a purchase within 24 hours, then you get credit for helping to make that sale happen. And you get a very, very small commission, but a percentage, generally anywhere from 1 to 3 or 4% commission for helping to bring that person to Amazon and help them. Affiliates can do all sorts of things. So an affiliate might be someone who's introducing people to new products, or it could be someone who's educating people about details of products. One way or another, the affiliate's job is to bring new people to the platform who are ready to make a purchase, and then they earn stacks and stacks of cash for doing that. It may be very tiny stacks of cash, but still.
Yeah. And that's essentially
Coins, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I've said I was in the affiliate industry for a decade for part of that time doing business development for one of the biggest affiliate management agencies in the world. And then I ran my own agency, affiliate management agency, for about 1.5 years before saying, you know what, I'm just going to work on Gear Report. That's more fun. So I've been around it a long time. And the little saying in the industry is that affiliates are coin operated. So they're doing work to help generate sales so they can get a piece of the pie on those sales.
it'd be similar if like you went fishing somewhere or you went to a band or something, or went to see a band play and you went, hey, that was a great sound. What guitar is that? Or, hey, that reel is so great. What brand of fishing reel is that? And then that person said, oh, I bought this in town. Tell them I sent you. And you go to the shop and you inquire. And even if you don't buy that one, maybe you buy a different one after talking to the shop owner. You find out that, this other one's best for you, but you let them know that so-and-so sent you. And maybe the next time so-and-so comes in the store, they get, free guitar strings or free fishing reel string or whatever, right? Like there's some compensation for sending them in. So this is just an electronic way of making sure that happens. And we use some cookies and things that people have heard about. So if you want to learn more about affiliate, please do. It's a really interesting thing. It can make the internet a lot more fun. It can help pay for your hobbies and projects, or it could be a side business, or you could literally make really good money on it. And you don't have to be unscrupulous or be a car salesman. There's really lots of fun ways to just do what you might enjoy. It might be playing with remote control cars, or having a fish tank, aquarium set up or something, or keeping snakes or lizards or something, and, just sharing that passion or that interest, and then helping it pay for itself and, pay for the electricity or the new bedding material or whatever it is. And it just makes it a lot more fun. Or you can take it to the next level and, the same way if someone had fish tanks and they go, you know what, at some point I'm going to start raising some fish and breeding them. And then, it turns out I like this fish so much that I can breed them. And then, that turns into a little income source or something. Or maybe you don't breed them, but you make like some kind of cool t-shirt or sign or something that has to do with your passion for these fish that other people share. And you make some kind of a t-shirt. So it's that kind of concept. If you're looking for some way to capitalize on the internet and be a capitalist and have a little fun with your projects instead of just spending money on them, I think there's a potential with affiliates for all of that, right? You get what you're going to put into it. You can play with it, or you can really get into it. And I think what we're going to do here is just try to give people the 30,000 foot view of that. So then if that's the affiliates, somebody want to take a stab at what the influencer, I guess, is what we're called when we get to the next level, so I don't want to say anybody can be an affiliate, but I don't think there's a lot of requirements on being affiliate other than you can fulfill the requirement of sending people to Amazon somehow, put a link somewhere, have a place to put a link. And if the influencer is so you can be a customer, you can be an affiliate. And then this influencer is like a third tier or another level. And like Jeff said, they kind of added it to us when we were affiliates at some point. So some of us didn't ask for it. It just happened. But now you become a customer of Amazon. You become an affiliate of Amazon by asking them and getting approved. And now there's a process. And I don't know the process because I'm like Jeff. I got in there earlier. But do you guys know, or somebody want to take a stab if you know the requirements to be the
to me, an influencer is somebody who has an established presence on social media and a following, who is tasked with creating specific content featuring products that are available on the platform. And those can and should end up being shown on product pages along with the products themselves. Those will be available for people to watch as they're shopping on Amazon, and they can use those to enhance their decision-making process on a certain product by people who have experience with it and can point out the pros and cons of such product and stuff like that. So that's basically what we are tasked to do, is to feature the product, tell people what we like about it and stuff like that. Not so much in a shill way, but as an informative way for them to make reasonable decisions in buying stuff. I think that's pretty much what we do.
Now, are you talking the influencer program or the on-site program? Because to me, they're two separate things.
Well, are they? I think influencer is what they call the level that gives you access to what you're talking about. But regular people aren't.
But you can be an influencer without being on the on-site thing. Doing all that.
Snap! No, you're right. You're right. It is a fourth level. You're right.
Yeah. True.
Okay, so we're going to edit, and we're just trying to be precise because it's Amazon. They're essentially German. If you've ever taken apart a German piece of machinery, it's extra complicated for no reason. And this is the way Amazon. I don't know if it's by design or by effect, but okay. So you can be a customer, and then you're an affiliate, and then an influencer is everything Gizzard said. You have to essentially, I think the requirements are that you have to have some kind of a social platform with 1,000 subs. And if it isn't that, let's just say that it's some kind of threshold like that. They have some requirement that you have some kind of following, and let's say it has to be current. It can't just be from like 70 years ago or something, or 7 years ago. So you can become an influencer, and then you're right. Ghost is right. You have to then apply to do this. Oh, what is it called? Just on-site? I guess we're calling it on-site, but essentially to do the videos that Gizzard alluded to, Ghost is essentially saying, hey, wait, there's a line in what Gizzard just said there. And the videos part of it is that the 5th tier? So, this extra level that you have to attain. And essentially you just have to, I don't know if we should get into all that, but essentially you just pass a tiny bit of a threshold and now you can post videos. But essentially what we're talking about is having a relationship with Amazon that lets you send people to them and then they compensate you. And then spend, if you have the resource like following on a social platform, achieving the other levels, the influencer and then on-site influencer. And then once you attain all that, which is what we're kind of talking about. Yes. So I guess Man, is that complicated? I think I explained it, but I don't know if I just
So
explained it to those of us who know it
I
or not.
think it's complicated because it's complicated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it'd be nice if we could really simplify it, but there's multiple layers to the influencer side, in my opinion. Like I think that when I think of an affiliate, I think of someone who has a property somewhere where they do things to promote the products, and then they're like kind of pre-selling, so to speak, so that they deliver someone to Amazon when they're ready to buy, or that's the goal at least. Whereas they've done all the heavy lifting, whereas an influencer, um I was going to say it's a different process. Maybe it's the same process, just using different tools. But like I think of something, as someone who primarily does long form written reviews, or at least historically, that's what we did at Gear Report. We're doing all the pre-selling, helping people understand the pros and cons, and would this be a good product for them or not. And then when they click on the link in one of our articles, it's like they've been pre-sold, they're ready to buy. And in my mind, that's different than an influencer who may have like a TikTok account. I mean, this is what Amazon is after. They want the TikTok and Instagram traffic, where maybe instead of a long form review where they're telling everyone about the product and pre-selling them, they have, 15-second videos up on TikTok. And in the description, it said, maybe they say something like, click the description for the list of all the stuff that I love. And then, they click that and it takes them to their Amazon influencer store, which is, 50 units of whatever they want to put up there, whether it's videos or pictures or list of items. And the idea is they're not doing a lot to generate, knowledge about those products. They're just saying, I like them, you should buy them, which I think is different than an affiliate who is saying, here's why you might like this, as opposed to you should like it and buy it because I like it. That's an influencer. So in my mind, they're kind of separate functions. But then Amazon has thrown this twist with what we're calling on-site, which is the ability to have your videos listed on the Amazon website. So instead of using some other platform like a website or TikTok or Instagram to generate the interest in the product, instead Amazon's giving influencers the ability to upload a video that goes on the product description page on Amazon. So it's completely different. Like I sometimes wonder, why do they even make this part of the influencer program? Because it's a different function, but maybe that's just how I look at it, is it's a different function. But my opinion, the on-site videos, your role as the influencer in creating an on-site video is to help people to go from being on the page looking and reading about the product to clicking purchase. That's your job. And like Gary said, you want to not be a shill about it. But really, that's why you're there. They're instead of having to generate traffic on our own elsewhere and then bring that traffic to Amazon, they've already got the traffic on the page for the product. They want us to help close the sale. We're the hired closers, I guess.
Yeah, I think that you kind of hit it right on. I think the influencer in the influencer store is where we give recommendations on what we've used, what we like. Hey, we think, I like this. If you like what I like, you'll like this. But I think the on-site is the next step. It's saying, hey, we're going to put your video directly on specific items that you do a video on. And exactly, I think what you said, we're the closer. And it's hey, and if you do it the right way, there's a lot of videos on products sometimes. But what I'm trying to do at this point is try to find a specific question that might have been asked, or, hey, not just an overview of this watch, but this is a particular thing that you may not know you can do with this watch. And that might help sell that item even more.
Yeah. Well, that's just to pull back from getting into strategy specifics and that kind of stuff. I want to play host a little bit and ask, we got people watching this live, and if you're listening to this in the future, feel free to leave a comment with the reply to this. But at this point, 24 minutes in, are we reaching any of our goal to illuminate what this project, what this system is? And it seems like we've spent bunch of time introducing ourselves, which you kind of have to do. And then since I didn't script this, I think we kind of attempted to describe it, but I'm sure there could have been a more efficient way to try to describe this if we all thought about it. So I'm just wondering if what we've said so far is useful enough to go on to some theory. So essentially, you know who we are and our experience with this stuff. And then I don't know if we've expressed, because we're all kind of living it and we've all talked about this quite a bit with each other. I'm not sure if everybody understands what we're talking about. So when I titled this thing Amazon Influencer Program, I probably could have more accurately labeled it the Amazon On-Site Influencer Program, which would have made no sense to anybody, but it would have been more accurate. Honestly, I don't think Amazon Influencer really makes that. It's such a splitting a hair. You know, I could have put Amazon Affiliate and probably more people would have understood. So we're definitely dealing with something that's complicated, I think, like Jeff said, just because it happens to be complicated now. I don't think Amazon set out 3 years ago to be complicated, but they're comfortable having layers and all kinds of tunnels and dead ends and things. So they're okay with this. But our goal is to shed light on it and then to offer some insight. So, you know, once we're done informing of what the thing is, we can start talking about some of the questions that have come in. So essentially, I'm trying to put a gap in, break in the show here to get some feedback, and there'll be some lag while people get to a keyboard and type it in or whatever. How about from you guys? Is there anything that from what we chatted so far that we missed that you would have put on if you were scripting it?
No, because I think that at least the on-site thing of it, I think that, you've been doing this longer than any of the other three, and you've been doing it for a few months. So I think that this is all kind of new. It's exciting a little bit because now we're able to actually do some different things that we've been able to do. But the problem with Amazon is like you said before, it is a complicated, not only thing to do, but it's a tedious task to even get involved in. But I think that's how they like it. So I don't think it's supposed to be easy to explain.
I think the thing that maybe the one thing that we skipped was, to me, I said affiliates are coin operated. I think influencers are coin operated as well. So we talked about being able to place video on the description, but we didn't say why. If someone clicks on that video and then doesn't click another one, but then makes a purchase, then you get credit for that purchase, and you get, again, a exceedingly small commission. So in either case, it becomes an aggregation game of a high volume of higher value products with a small commission starts to add up to become, enough money to pay the mortgage or that kind of thing. So that's the goal. Like, we're all here trying to figure out how to be a part of this purchase decision chain to add enough value that Amazon keeps giving us money for being inserted in the process.
I followed you there, but I'm wondering. So I think you something you hit on there that I'm going to just hit a different way is when you said that the affiliate thing, the historic thing that has been around for a while, and a strategy that works with lots of different companies. YouTube is literally an affiliate thing, essentially, where we're doing stuff, we're dancing, we're talking to people, we're doing whatever we're doing, and then they lay ads on it. We get a cut of the ads. This is sort of an affiliate. It's a little bit different, but it's a same kind of concept. So with Amazon, historically, it's been go do your thing, and maybe you're talking about a typewriter, maybe you're playing a guitar, and then you have a link in your description of your video or your music that says, I bought the guitar on Amazon, here's a link. And maybe it was you're painting a picture and here's my paintbrushes, or I'm reading a book and here's where the book was found. And that historically has been the thing. I'm going to go do something. I'm going to recommend that you can go grab this thing instead of some other store. If you buy it on Amazon, it helps out our project. It helps out our channel, whatever. So you could, do that on websites. You could do that on YouTube videos. You can't necessarily do it on an Instagram post. We won't get into all the technicals, but that was essentially what we had to do before, is go do something get people involved, and then, hey, if you're interested, go grab one, or just be a used car salesman. Hey, what you got to do is buy the best thing ever, and here's why you got to buy it by tomorrow. It's super important you buy this. Nobody was doing that we know, but you had to do some strategy to get people over to Amazon and then buy. And the key to what Jeff was saying there that I'm trying to highlight is that what Amazon just recently in the last year has offered is, by putting up something on Amazon, we no longer have to get their attention and then find some of them to want to go buy the thing and then take them to Amazon and then hope that they buy it. But now we can just be on the Amazon purchase page and we can say, yeah, it isn't heavy, or yeah, it does hold water, or yeah, it does turn blue, and that's what people needed to know. And now they bought it. And like Jeff said, the trickle isn't necessarily, if you get a quarter, when somebody buys I don't know, what would you get a quarter for? A $10 item or something? You get a little cut. But if somebody's buying one of those $10 items every 5 minutes and, you're getting a quarter 6 or 7 times a day, that's $1 every day, or more. And, if you have a couple of items like that you're influencing, that you've got some kind of a video on, or and some kind of, there's more than just video, so I just don't want to make it video centric, but you've got some piece of on Amazon. That's the potential here. And it's not that they've really changed the dynamic, other than by giving us access to the products themselves. There's much more potential for someone following through after they've watched your video. Was it worth saying all that to focus on that element of it? Like, that's the gist. That's the new part, that if you go through all these hoops and attain the ability to do this type of posting, you get to put the post in a very strategic spot that can be lucrative. I don't know. Clover's got a link. He's got like 8 links if he wants to jump in, if he's busy or something. Let's see. So I've got questions coming in, mostly from G23. If anybody else has questions, feel free. I'm going to do them in the backwards order, I think, so, or maybe in random order here, or a different order. So first, what are the minimum requirements? So there's the requirements are that you go through the different levels, right? You have to become this, and then you can become that, and then you can become this. Each level has requirements. They're all available as you do them, or we could chat about them. I don't think in this chat, I think we get even more detail focused if we try to get into all of that. Would you guys say that it's, for anybody on YouTube, an issue to get all the way up to where you need to be to make money on the videos? I am comfortable saying anybody who's done a live show for a while could just go through the process, just figure out what the process is and go through it. I don't think there's much difficulty in it. I don't know. I know there's other people that feel differently.
I think there's a certain requirement for the amount of followers, but
Yeah. Followers, age of the account. They want to see a lot of interaction, apparently. But so here's the thing. It's all hearsay. Amazon doesn't actually tell you what the requirements are. And I think that as a community, people have assembled in Reddit and in different Facebook groups to share information, and some trends have emerged where people can kind of say, well, typically on TikTok, you got to have 1,000 followers and have had your account for 3 months or whatever. I don't know if that's the right.
It's speculation, though. That's what you're saying. It's like, we don't know.
Well, the people have kind of gleaned some information, and they're making some educated guesses. A bit, maybe more than speculating. It's some educated guesses, but no one really knows. So, G23 saying, well, I'll never be invited. Well, no, you don't get invited. You have to go apply. And to apply to the Amazon Influencer Program, the bar is relatively lower compared to getting the ability to post the on-site videos that show up on the Amazon product descriptions.
true.
But I think it's still it's not an inconsequential bar. because they want to prevent people from going and creating an account. Maybe someone listening right now is like, oh, wow, I'm going to go create a TikTok account. I'm going to apply tomorrow. Well, they want to see a duration of influence, like time wise. They want to see a span of influence, and they want to see engagement. Those are the things that, as far as we can tell, we being, the royal we of whoever we want it to be, that those things all come into play into whether they let you in the influencer program to begin with. And then the bar gets raised a couple levels, apparently, to go from there to the on-site promotion.
Well, okay. And I agree with you for like a regular person who's just starting from scratch and looking at this thing from the floor and looking up at a tower. But I guess I'm thinking of G23 representing all the people who are advocates, people that have been doing channels for a while, people that are looking for a side gig and that are comfortable in these things. If you don't have whatever, like I said, I'm not going to try to get into all the levels because I don't know if they actually know it or not, but essentially, if you're comfortable and able, you're going to glide right through. If you've done this before, this is going to be nothing. This is like way easier than getting a YouTube channel to be monetized or anything, essentially. But yeah, if you've never done anything before, I agree with Jeff. But I think Clover's got stuff to say on this.
Well, I just don't know where the line is. So like, I don't know how many subscribers G23 has. I don't want to make it.
That's what I mean. And then that's where we don't, and we're talking to G23, but yeah, who knows who's listening? And that's the thing. If you've got 500, that doesn't mean you're not eligible. And if you've got 500, don't just think that gives you a coast in either. It might be 1,000, but it might be 500 if you're good, because it's humans. I guess we should mention it's humans watching the Amazon stuff. It's not like I think it's not like at some levels, at least, it's a human watching the Amazon stuff and being the evaluator. So if you can be comfortable in front of them with a smaller audience, I'm sure you're getting through, because we've seen people get through like that. And you can, and just because you're huge doesn't mean you're getting through. If you're just bad at making videos and you do like maybe a half an hour long video with copyrighted music or something, and you try to get through with that, they're going to be like, no. I'm getting into details, I think. Clover, you jumped in. Thanks for jumping in. Did you have something to chat about, or did you just jump in?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak to what the Amazon affiliate, influencer support and help docs say. And so, as far as becoming an affiliate, it's really easy. You just got to generate sales. You got to prove you can generate sales, and their criteria for that, at least this is all coming from what I'm telling you, is coming my experience, other people's experience, and then coming from the help docs, is generate 3 sales in your first 180 days. If you don't, you get kicked out, right? And then from there, if you generate 3 sales in the first 180 days, as long as you can show that you're generating sales every month. Now, if you had consecutive months where you didn't generate a single solitary sale, then that would be, maybe. I mean, they would kick you out, on an ex post facto basis or whatever, right? If you are 180 days in, you get your 3, you remain in, and then a year later you go 3 or 4 months without any sales, like, yeah, they may drop you. But I don't know anybody that hasn't just quit doing it or something, you know what I mean, that fits that mold or that category. I mean, anybody, one of the first things you do is extended family, friends, coworkers, and you're going to generate sales every month. It may only be 1 or 2. You may only get, you may not make $5 a month, but at least you're generating sales, and that's what they're getting at. I mean, it's a business, right? It's Amazon. So as long as you're generating sales for them and they're making money, it ain't no skin off their back. As far as the requirements to get into the influencer program, there is no, I mean, I was in the influencer program at like 500 subs or something there. I think, I don't even know, but maybe that was, I don't remember.
Because again, they look at your comfort and the professionalism or whatever, and they're like, yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, as far as the help docs, as far you go in to read all of that, there's no boundaries for the influencer program. You apply to it, and they say, yeah, they look at your following, but they look at engagement. And I think Jeff mentioned that verbatim. They look at your followers, yes, but it's not a number they're looking at. They're looking at, okay, does he have what seems like a significant amount for the amount of content that's out there? They've been on this platform for this long. I'm sure they're going to look at that date. There's all these different criteria. How many comments are they getting and other things? They're going to look at that. From there, you move into the ability to, of course, upload video. And this is where G was explaining, and Jeff too, the different levels that kind of work up to it. That's the Amazon influencer. And then you work yourself up to being able to do video. Now, being able to put video is much different than the on-site, in that putting up video, you can basically put up just about whatever kind of video you want. There are certain criteria and guidelines and policy around that, right? That doesn't mean that video is acceptable for Amazon to then push out to everybody and put on product pages. So there's two different things there, right? Just because you get the influence, just because you get the, what am I thinking? Affiliate, just because you get the Amazon influencer, just because you get the ability to do video, then you've got to turn around and you have to create specific videos for the on-site program. And again, Amazon kind of walks you through some of the guidelines for that. In that there's not a lot of self-promotion and subscribe and click the thumbs up and like, make sure you tell Amazon this was helpful, and directive type stuff. Like, they don't like that I found anyway in the on-site part of the program. But once you get to a point that you're ready for that, you basically create 3 videos that are compliant with what they are looking for videos for the on-site program. And it's as simple as that. So it's not, I agree with everybody here. The barrier to entry is not, especially for somebody already creating content, the barrier to entry is low with all of this. It really is. Now, it's going to take a little time, sure, but the barrier to entry is low.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. I guess it was worth. You did it pretty concisely. That's essentially an outline of it. So a couple of things, key bullet points, right? It's not money for nothing. It's not impossible. And man, I would, if we would have had this conversation, and we almost did have this conversation, what is it now? 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was now, 3 weeks ago. We're not going to get too much into it, but if we would have had this conversation a little while back, I would have said, this is the solution to a lot of people's issues in lots of different ways, financially and creatively, and getting reach, because there's going to go back and forth. Reach on Amazon is a giant platform, and if you're stifled or frustrated with your reach on Rumble or TikTok or Twitter or wherever, this is a way to supplement, enhance, and all that. Plus, it's a money lucrative thing too. So, but it can be. I'm going to put it that way. So that's what I'm going to get at with. Thanks for Clover for bringing that up. That it's possible, but it's also, it's not. They're not giving it away, and I think everybody will agree that it's not 100% like drop everything. Well, it's certainly not drop everything and get over here. But I don't want to tell people not to do it.
The easier it is to do, the more competition and stuff you're going to have, right? So, I mean, ultimately you don't want that either. If anybody and everybody can just jump on and do stuff and everybody's doing it, then think about, that's a smaller piece of the pie that you're ultimately able to get.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. So I think I'm looking to see how big is Amazon. So if anybody can figure out how big the top websites are, the closest thing I can get is from 2019. And it has Google at the largest website with, let's say, a monthly visits in the 60 huge numbers, right? And Amazon in relation was at 2. So Amazon was nowhere near. It goes Google, YouTube, Facebook, 60, 24, 19, then other countries, then Wikipedia, Twitter, Yahoo somehow. Pornhub, Instagram, other countries, other country, something else, other country, Amazon it too. So Amazon's nowhere near as big as I thought it was, but it is still bigger than everything else on the planet. There's
biggest-
12 things bigger than it, but it's the biggest store, right? Instead
It's
of
the biggest
one.
commerce platform, right? And I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's
It's
the
nothing
thing to
to
keep in
sneeze at.
mind. Like every other, if you're on Amazon, you're buying something, right? All of them
Right,
other
you went there.
platforms,
Yeah.
you're not on there to buy something
No,
necessarily.
you're right. You're there to entertain each other or fart
Yeah.
around or get mad or whatever or inform. But yeah, there you're there to buy. But then the last I heard, it's 500,000 influencers. So how big is Amazon? However many, I don't even know what those numbers are, but it's somewhere smaller than YouTube. But 100,000 influencers. I mean, seriously, think about how many. Like, can I ask the internet how many items are on Amazon? So let's just think about pants or shoes or something. Like, do any of us here wearing the same shoes? If I had a huge audience of 100 people listening to this, what's the odds of more than a few of us wearing the same pair of shoes at one time? So, I mean, the number of products in the United States is, I don't know, somebody must be trying to track it, but it's huge.
Are they counting now? Are they counting? You said Amazon has 500,000 influencers.
No, that is by somebody going to Google and putting in a filter to search for
Okay.
just the front end of a URL that would include all the stores on Amazon. So it's a
Oh, okay.
inconsistent, it's a
Okay.
fake way of trying to figure it out. It's not like Amazon told us.
Well, I mean, YouTube has upwards of 100 million channels, easily, million channels. So, when you're talking in the hundreds of thousands, that's insignificant considering the difference between 60 and 2 that you relayed earlier. You feel what I'm saying?
How about, well, no, I just wasn't listening because I found an Amazon statistics. It's called Amazon. Here, I'll put it up here. It's from Amazon. It's them chatting themselves up or whatever. 180 countries. We can only sell to the United States, but soon Canada is going to be added to that, so we can start all making Canada stores. FYI, sellers have the opportunity to reach millions of customers, 300 million active customer accounts, and over 1.9 million selling partners, 150,000 sellers, and more than 10 billion in global annualized sales. There's all the third part. Well, I don't know. Anyway, we don't have to tell people how big Amazon is. It's big. I was trying to figure out how many influencers there are, just because. Yeah, I mean, value.
It's got to be a
voice.
small number. It's got to be a small number. It's got to be in
Value
the
your
hundreds.
voice, because let's say there's a thing like a dog toy, and I've got this little pug, right, and he's playing with it. Does that even matter to somebody who owns a pit bull or a Doberman or a little foo-foo? You know what I mean? Like, guess what? Now that dog toy needs a video from all of those, or at least, there's going to be dog toys from all of those angles. And that's just that. What if it's typewriters? Well, I like my typewriter to be like this. I don't know what the difference typewriters are, but it's probably like guitars. There's a reason there's different typewriters. Sewing machines, bread making machines, whatever, you name it. There's just tons of stuff where there's potential there. So I don't know. We went off a little bit of a tangent there, but do we meet the minimum requirements? Clever, I think, did a pretty good summary there. But there's other ones out there. There's other videos. I'd like to just, again, we're not trying to hype it up like it's, you got to try this out. At least I'm not. But at the other hand, 2 weeks ago, I would have said that. 3 weeks ago, I would have said, oh, come on, why are you not doing this? If you can do a YouTube video, you need to start making some money on Amazon. I can't say that because it's been inconsistent. I don't want people to waste their time. But seriously, if you got nothing else to do, I mean, what is there any downside to going and getting in on this if you're already doing YouTube, or if
Yeah.
you're just interested in starting it? There is downside.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
go
but it's
to the downside.
opportunity. For one, it's opportunity cost. Everything you choose to do with your time and resources,
Which you could have been
consumes
applying to your
resources
YouTube
that
or
are not
whatever.
available to do something else with. So the opportunity cost, and kind of like you, a month ago, I was 6 weeks into. Was it 6 weeks? No, it was about 4 weeks in. A month ago, I was about 4 weeks in. And over that 4-week period, I had gone from, the first 3 days of making nothing, and then had it's still up and down, but a very positive trajectory in terms of commissions on a daily basis. Like it wasn't, am I making any commission today? It was, am I making more today than yesterday, and how much more? And it was going up, not every day, but certainly trending very strongly up. And, you know, within 4 weeks, I was on track to not just pay my mortgage in a month. Like, you know, if sales continued the way they were, I would have, you know, basically what a lot of people would call enough money to replace their job each month from that program. So it looked phenomenal, right? Now it's, you know, a third to a quarter over the last 4 weeks. And in just a couple days, we'll be at a solid 4 weeks since something changed that we don't know what it was, because Amazon is a black box, and we don't get to see how the machine works in that black box. We just get the output from it. So yeah, I would have very enthusiastically told people, you know, one of my kids, I had to kind of strong arm her to apply, and she got into the on-site program and start making videos. And now it's like the bottom dropped out from under it. And it was one of these, you know, just get your videos up, you're going to make some money. And now it's like, shouldn't even check most days to see if she made any money, because there's not a big expectation that the money's going to be there. So not to talk it down for people, but a month ago it looked amazing. And people were talking about it's the easiest way you can make money. Well, I mean, if I were an Amazon executive and I heard, oh, it sounds like we're giving away money a little too easy, I think someone heard that and said, all right, you got to crank down on this. If people are saying it's the easiest way ever to make money, then we got to make it a little harder.
Well, one of the reasons that I wanted to jump in, Jeff, is because you were in here, and I know that, you know, with this conversation anyway, wouldn't mind having some private ones. But so I finally got in. Tomorrow will be as far as actually making money, because it takes a few days once you get in and once everything else. But from the first dollars on the on-site program, tomorrow will be 4 weeks. And I've seen nothing but, I mean, there's the minor dips that you have, but overall trajectory has been up and up and up. You know, I've noticed a few little trends of, you know, it seems like if there's a very long, it seems like things have to cook a little bit. It definitely is, you know, all over the place as far as what items, and we've been doing a wide variety of things. It seems like it's all over the place. But I think that market timing has a lot to do with it. You know, we're into the summer now, the you know, dog days of summer, the summer months, vacations. How many people are not online shopping, and maybe how many people have already done their shopping before summertime? I'm excited, and I've been telling my wife this, especially with some of the artsy craftsy stuff that she has that relates to back to school. That is not high dollar stuff, but you know, it's worth getting that stuff in play before back to school season starts to kind of see what plays out and what happens. But I've got a totally different experience. I've got less experience overall than you do, or G or Gizzard, of course. But I can't complain not too much anyway. I can complain about what you're talking about, which is the transparency and the analytics and everything else, because
Sure.
it's absolutely horrible. My wife, in fact, she was asking today, and I sit down and just kind of went through a list of things that had sold and stuff, and she was asking, were her videos doing any good? Now, you know, she was asking me a bunch of questions, and it's frustrating to her because she's used to asking me YouTube questions, right? And I can answer anything and everything. And I've just got to tell her, I'm like, look, like, here's what I think, and whatever. But like, Amazon sucks as far as giving us the knowledge and the tools and the
Yeah.
analytics and the other things to determine. I'm not sure that a little bit of what G Webb's pointed out, a little bit what you pointed out, is I'm not sure that's not absolutely by design. Like, they
Yeah.
don't want to do that because they know that holds us back. It creates more work. It's going to weed out a lot of the folks that aren't serious and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So as far as having a different experience, I am not going to screen share my reporting data on a live
No,
broadcast. But if you
100%.
want to see it, I'll show it to you. And once you see it and compare it to yours, you'll be
Well, I don't
like,
even need
oh,
that. We could just have a
you'll be like, oh, I
conversation.
get
Yeah.
it. Because I don't know what your numbers are, but I can tell you that based on everything I have seen in the program, um, that your trajectory would probably be 2 to 3 or maybe even 4 times the dollars each day a month ago. Like if you had started
Yeah.
a month earlier, just
Yeah.
because the whole platform devalued to a quarter to a third of what it had been on daily sales for most people.
Right.
And it coincided very coincidentally with an incentive they put out where if you got invited, you could create and upload a specific type of video in whatever number they ask you. Different people got different requests for how many to do. I got requested to do 50 videos, and they had a bounty out there for, here's what we'll pay you. And it was not insignificant money. And so some people have theorized that whenever they do an incentive, then they cut back on what they pay for everything else to help, make that a net zero incentive. It doesn't cost Amazon anymore. They just shift who they're giving the money to as the people who do the incentive. So who knows? But hopefully, to your point about having everything in play before holidays and whatever shopping occasions come up, I think that's definitely why. Like I'm crazy frustrated because the trajectory was looking amazing.
So,
and I was so excited, and then when the bottom dropped out, it's been a blow to my mental health.
So let me ask you this, Jeff. How long have you been doing this?
I've been making
Talking
videos
about
for this
on-site.
for-
Talking about on-site.
Yeah, I've been making videos for on-site for 3 months. I've been
Okay.
in the program in on-site for 2 months. Yeah.
Okay. So I had a conversation with some folks that were the reason that I tried to get in about a year ago now. And I had guns in the videos, they didn't take them, and I got busy with the podcast, and I got busy. We all do that, right? Like, it ain't worth my time. I've got other things I got to focus on. And so I shifted into that, and I probably shouldn't have, but I did. And it was you and G and Snob and Gary and hearing y'all talk that was like, okay, I got to get off my butt and get back in on this and check this out and do it right. But anyway, I had a conversation 2 weeks ago. I think it was. I think Monday was maybe 2 weeks ago. With one of those people that initially suggested it to me that had been in it for a year now. And I don't know how this is compared to what you're doing or anything else, but they were making several thousand. They're still averaging several $1,000s a month. Now, that being said, like I don't remember the amount of videos they've got. I don't remember all of that, and I'm not mentioning any names, so it's not like I'm reneging on that because I want to protect anybody's identity. But I legit don't remember, and I don't remember the actual dollar amounts. But it was several, like more than 2,000, more than a couple a month, and they, according to them, they haven't seen the dip that everybody else is talking about. But they may have gotten a dip previously or something too, because they were talking more averages, and this was before I knew anything about the dip.
Well, no, you're not incorrect. You're 100% right. And I'm glad you brought that up. And here's something that I'll just throw out there. Again, Amazon is huge. So if someone is linking to paper towels that an institution uses on a scheduled basis every week, they're buying 1 million of these towels, and somebody has some way of, an affiliate link to that, that is not going to be affected by Father's Day, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, hunting season, fishing season, right? Like Christmas season fluctuations that other products might see. And then those are both going to be different than a rice treat that goes viral on Oprah and then goes viral on the next show and the next show and the next show. And that person is somehow affiliated with that item. And you don't even have to be the only person affiliated with an item. We all know how virality works. We talk to people all the time. Clover is not at all incorrect. So I don't think there's anything wrong with us talking about, vaguely about the money involved. So just like YouTube, yeah, you can make nothing pretty much easily. You can do that. You can do that all the time. You can make thousands of dollars a month. You can make hundreds of dollars a month. You can make dozens of dollars a month. You can do something where you make dozens of dollars one month, and then it goes up to thousands, and then it goes back to hundreds. I don't know if we know anybody that's done that with shorts, but I know we've seen people must have had experience with one of their shorts or some of their shorts going crazy. So, so every once in a while, we'll hear somebody who gets an $11,000 month because something went viral to the extent that, there was something associated with it, and enough people purchased, 1% of people of a million, give you a quarter. I don't know what the math is on that. Somebody knows. It's a lot of money, probably, right? So every once in a while, that can happen. Can you engineer that? No. And can you depend on that? Of course not. But anyway, I'm just throwing that out there. We know that there's definitely potential return, but you talked about it didn't cut. What Jeff is trying to say is that for the people that were making that thousands of dollars a month, something changed, and that would have gone down to like dozens of dollars a month. And we don't know if that change is permanent, if the change is a blip, if the change is the new norm, because it's not anybody.
Well, and that's the reason
tell you that stuff.
And that's the reason I brought this up with having the conversation with those folks that have been in it for like a year, is that maybe that's a good sign that there's that ebb and flow going on, right? And ultimately, it may not be as good as your high months, right? Maybe you came on, Jeff, right, and some of the other folks that came into the program too before me. Maybe everybody kind of came in at the high month, right? Getting ready for college dorms, or I don't know. I don't know what would have revolved around that, right? Graduations and various things. I don't know, but like I said, getting ready for the summer, maybe, and maybe that was just one of those spike times in the month, and then now that things have started to kind of level back out, because I'm still growing, I don't see that. But since you guys were already in it, it looks like a drop to you. Yours is going the opposite direction, when in reality things are equalizing, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and I'm not. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, when kids go back to school this fall, when we get closer and closer to fall shopping season and Christmas, are we going to start to reap the rewards for sticking it out, in the long term? I don't know, because I haven't been in it long enough.
That's for a month ago, I would have said, absolutely, we will. We're going to kill it then. But then seeing what happened in the last month, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's kind of to me, it's kind of a sky is falling attitude. You kind of got to wait it out. But
and I think you got to have, I have seen, just on mine, I've seen like things have to cook, and like you don't know. And so, I don't mind throwing it out there. I mean, I'm over $100 a week at this point. And it's the vast majority of the items that I've got videos on, they're not cooking. Like they're not. It's just you take that and you extrapolate that out of 150 videos, right? And that money's coming from maybe 10 videos, like maybe. And so I've got to think what happens when those others pop off, if those others pop off. I don't want to say when, because you can make a crappy video or on a product that doesn't matter or whatever the case may be. And so I think there's some strategy and technique to making sure your variety of items include things like all year long. Like for example, we've got heaters, and probably in the next month or two, they're on the board to get something done with those and have those on there, and those be cooking, as the weather in parts of the country start to turn cold and other things. So, playing that game where, okay, we've got this variety that can sustain all year long, and as different times of the year, different holidays hit, different things, you've got all these different videos that can then they start to boil for a little bit or whatever.
I'm going to leave is it really worth the effort? Because we've kind of been addressing that, but I'm going to come back at the end when we finalize this thing. I think we'll go for like 90 minutes, so we don't keep everybody all night or day or whatever it is, and then we have some time to chat off air, because this is their strategy is to get us together.
That off air chat's where this is all going to become clear, because I hear everything that Clover and Gary are saying, and I agree with them. But then when you see the real numbers, you'll be like, oh, okay, I get it.
And it's fun. It's to some extent, the numbers are lame. These guys are complaining, but I like to look at it that compared to anything, it's not as good as YouTube, but that's about it, right? It's still
Well,
massively
anytime you
good
take a
compared to
hit,
anything
man.
else.
Anytime you take a hit, what was it, 2 years ago? I don't even remember. That'd have been 2 years ago. Couldn't have been 3. But I look at views on YouTube, for example. Like, I come out of SHOT Show and my channel dropped off a cliff coming out of SHOT Show of all things, and you're like, what in the world? So I understand the context of you're used to a trajectory, and then all of a sudden, you just drop off a freaking cliff. So I get the frustration with that. I totally understand where that's coming from.
Well, I mean, it was just a normal trajectory, though. I mean, it was just a normal growth trajectory. And the problem is that everybody experienced the same drop off. So we knew it wasn't like, oh, all of a sudden I was, being offensive in my video or doing something wrong or whatever. So I'm going to leave is it really worth the effort? So we can go back to it towards the end.
Yeah.
Just kind of wrap it up
Yeah.
with that. G23, what are the pros and cons? And again, I'm not trying to sell it. I just don't want to be, I want to be on the record because I want to help people. I don't want to waste your time. But on the other hand, if this is something that you get a couple of $100 a week off of, or you dig in and you figure out a way that you get $400 a week or $700 a week or $400 a day, we're talking to people that in the slump are in the $200-300 a day. There's people that are making real money. Of course, they're really working on it. I don't want to make it seem like it's easy, and I'm not discounting anything Jeff said because I'm in his boat. I can show you guys numbers also that are devastatingly frustrating. But I'm also aware that mechanisms are weird and who knows what's going on. So for the effort, like I say, I'm just trying to throw it out there. So let us know if you're out there, if this is getting effective for you, if it's useful or what. Feel free to ask any other questions and that kind of thing. Smeggy can go over to Instagram if he wants. And then we'll address some of these other questions that have come up. But let's go around the room with what are the pros and cons. Gizzard, do you want to go first or last?
No, doesn't matter. What are the pros and cons of this avenue? Well, obviously the pros are there's an income involved in the end. Obviously that, and getting to expand your do some new things with your creator stuff that you've learned. You know how to make videos, obviously. You know how to make things attractive to people. So this is kind of a way to hone your craft, so to speak, in a little bit different avenue from a way you've done it in the past. So yeah, those are the pros. If you do it correctly, you receive benefits at the end and stuff like that. Now, the cons obviously are there's quite a bit of time investment and stuff like that. It's, do you have the extra time? Do you have the will to put all this stuff together, to do it correctly, to study, the way that it has to be done and follow that stuff to the letter, and having to deal with setbacks because you're going to be dealing with setbacks. So a great deal of patience is involved also. So if you don't have a lot of patience, it might not be the thing for you. That's kind of in a nutshell what I would say.
Damn, dude, they should be paying you because that's a great nutshell right there. So, I guess Clover.
Pros. Aside from the original setup, I would put time in a pro because of a few reasons. Once you finally get things rolling and get it set up, there is a certain amount of investment in that, what I would call a hardcore investment in that for sure. Once that's set up and you're just uploading videos, they don't have to be long. So you can batch. I mean, you can get 5, 10 things, 20 things on the kitchen table. And in 30 minutes have those done, and within an hour have those on Amazon. Not just that, and not just using it for yourself. And this hasn't been talked about, at least since I've been listening or been in the chat, but you yourself don't have to do this. My wife, again, is doing videos, right? So you could get your wife, your daughter, your son, your neighbor, your whoever, I mean, that would be interested in doing something. I mean, you could. So the time, and then also I would say availability of things. Pretty much everything you're looking at, you could snap a video of. Now you want to be careful in obviously how you do that, because you don't want to do that, I don't think, in like a store somewhere or that type of a setting. But if you're over at a neighbor's house or a friend's house or in-laws or something, I mean, you could certainly do that. So, yeah, I think it's easy to manage that, and I think that's one of the gains. As far as the cons, I think the cons is that at this particular juncture, you're not going to talk to anybody, including people that have been in it, like I've said, a year, been in the program. The cons are all of the unknowns. The cons is trying to figure out a game that I don't know that anybody could ever figure out, because I think the rules and I think everything is constantly changing with it. And so I think that's a con. And so if you're used to, especially me, this is coming from my projection as somebody who knows and understands YouTube. I go into it and I try to look at the goofy analytics that they offer and some of the other jinky things, and I try to see the patterns in the things, the videos I put up and stuff. And it's hard to really make any rhyme or reason out of it, and that's frustrating. So I would put that in a con column.
All your pro is that to give an alternative to Gary's one. You don't have any other pros, just to give you an opportunity to throw other pros out there.
No,
I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot. I just want to make sure you didn't
Nah,
gloss
I can't
over
think-
any other pros.
I can't think of anything. One of the biggest pros was that you yourself don't have to do this. I mean, your whole family can be involved in it if they want, which is that helps you with the time management aspect.
That's true.
Threaten to not drive her to work until she makes like 3 videos.
Right.
Well, hide the keys from her. Like, I'll give you your keys back when I get 3 videos.
All right.
So Jeff, pros and cons. Oh, let me go back to the actual question. Pros and
Well,
cons.
I think there's one pro that trumps everything, and that is access to Amazon's traffic. So if you contrast this, as we started to the affiliate program, you got to generate all your traffic. You've got to bring
Good one.
people.
Yeah.
We literally, you get in the on-site program, you have access to an SEO machine that is unrivaled in the world today. So your videos can be like on any given product. Like, you pick a hot product, you could have thousands of people seeing your video today. You guys probably have more successful YouTube experiences than I do, but my most successful video doesn't get 1,000 people seeing it a day. So,
Right.
the ability to convert sales directly, not only do you have access to their SEO machine driving traffic to put you front and center in front of people, but they're already on the page with at least more than a passing interest in potential purchase, in making a potential purchase, because they wouldn't be on the product page otherwise, typically. So your odds of that video converting into a sale that you get a small commission off of are exponentially higher through this method than any other way that I'm aware of to do any kind of affiliate type, where you don't have to buy product and run a website. Like, literally the barrier to entry is very low. You could have a cell phone and a data connection. You don't even have to have a computer to do this. So super low barrier to entry to then get access to a sales juggernaut of a website, to make some pennies off each sale. That's the pro, period, in my opinion. Everything the other guys said, yeah, that's all important too, but this is like the big one. The huge con is this is a black box that you have no control over. Now, to me, that's a huge con, because I am at a point where I'm thinking scale. Now, I understand the first month or two when you're new at the program and you're going around looking at stuff you already have in your house, you're not trying to figure out how much can I spend to buy products and what's going to be the time to positive ROI, and how much do I have to invest to make a certain amount, and do I need additional workspace? Do I need to hire people? If you really want to make money on this, you've got to scale. Scale is very, very risky when you're working with a black box that can be shut off right now with no notice. So I think
Yep.
that's the huge con, is if you want to do it kind of as a hobbyist to make a little extra money, not much of a con because you don't have a lot at risk. But when you're talking about investing capital and time and additional resources to try to scale and really get the most out of this program, I'll tell you what, I don't know if you guys have seen me lately. I'm almost bald. Like, it's making my hair fall out, because that's the mode I'm in, is in how fast can I scale this? And right as I started to scale and I'm working out how much can I spend and how many products can I get and how do I evaluate what products to purchase, and I'm getting a certain set of numbers that's like, good products, I can expect a positive ROI in a month and a half to 2 months. Then this cliff happens a month ago, and now I'm looking at 5 to 6 months. How do I float capital for 5 to 6 months waiting just to break even? And hope that nothing major changes in the program in that time that makes it not even viable to begin with, or the manufacturer changes models and that product that I just invested money in now isn't even available, so I can't make money off of it.
Piggybacking off of that con, Jeff, and that's a great one, that folks need to be aware of, is also the payment delay for some folks could end up being a con if they don't realize that's a thing. Like, you don't get paid like immediately when you sell something, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's what's derailed my daughter. Mentally, she saw some commissions come in and was excited, and then she looked it up and said 60 days. I was like, no, 60 days from the close of the period. So if you get a sale at the beginning of the month and the period closes on the 27th, it's 60 days plus 26 days or 27 days or whatever. So you're looking at almost 90 days before you get paid for that transaction.
Exactly.
And in that 60-day period, you can have returns that as I think is very fair.
That's another con. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yep.
Well, it's a part of it. It's to be expected, and it can be factored in or out. You go to things that people traditionally return or not, and it turns out, like clothing, for example, people often buy the size up and down from where they think they might want, or the 3 different colors, and then they look at it and they're encouraged to just return the one they don't like the color or the size. So if you do a bunch of fashion, and you got to expect that you're going to get a higher return rate than
that's a
glue.
Well,
glue
and Amazon
or tape or something.
Amazon makes returns super easy too.
For sure.
Yeah.
But they great. As a bunch of people who do reviews, right? Like, we see it as, when we're doing reviews, at least in my perspective, my job is to help people figure out how to buy the right thing the first time. So now Amazon and other companies that are making it so easy, there are people who, in my opinion, it's like they have this entitlement of, G and I have seen people in a Facebook group that we spend time in who are like, oh yeah, I will typically buy 20 or more dresses to try on, and I'll shoot videos on all of them. I'll return 17 or 18 of them. My goal is to keep 1 or 2. And I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you people?
I had a comment on a video the other day, and I didn't even know how to respond to it. Right. And it was on a holster, and the comment was, I will never buy this holster. This company doesn't have a good return policy. And what if I get it and I don't like it? And I'm thinking, well, like, does it fall apart? Did it break? This is what I'm thinking, right? Like, I get a warranty, and the way I run my business for 18 years was pretty much that way. Like, it's not my fault you made a purchase decision and you're not happy with it. Did it fall apart? Is it still working? Does it actually do the job? Yeah. Well, then don't return it. But I think you're right. I think we've gotten into such a culture of whatever you want to call it, right? Like entitlement or participation trophy, or like everybody gets their way, the customer's always right, whatever, that it bleeds into that. Now, thankfully, I haven't seen that many returns, at least yet, which is great. But I think G's right too. I think you can mitigate that by kind of paying attention to what you do invest your time in. Like, clothing would be super risky.
Yeah.
But it's also a good opportunity now that I think about it. Like, I did shoes. I've got some shoes up there, and I think Gary's got some shoes that he's done. And
Yeah.
I've mentioned the sizing. Anything clothing I've done, I've mentioned for me, like, hey, now normally I'll wear a X or I'll wear this or whatever, and I think these run a little small, or I think these
Well,
run a little large.
that's what influencing is, essentially. In reality, that's what influencing is. Like, I got a fat foot like what you got, and this is how I like it. I got a skinny foot like what you got, and this is how it fits me. And that's what people are looking for on Amazon in those videos, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So there is opportunity in that, I think, too. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And so with that, I don't want to keep it going for too long. So I want to take another opportunity to say, if anybody's out there watching live, if you got questions, if you are watching this in the future, Gizzard does a show every Friday night called Foul Territory. Check it out and bring questions to him. Maybe not on this, but whatever you
It's
want.
very foul.
Jeff does a show every Thursday afternoon and evening from the Gear Report project. Check that out. It's also live. Clover hangs out in other people's chats all the time live. We do a chat on Tuesdays with GunTube Academy and on Saturdays with Tony.
Ghost and Clover every other Sunday. Not today, but next Sunday, every other Sunday. Got the Ghost and Clover.
You're pretty much always on Ghost Tuesday show. Ghost was in here earlier. He does a Tuesday show, so feel free to contact any of us on our live shows. I'd like to do more of these, especially with more people with different experiences and different goals and stuff with their AMZ situation. So if you're listening from those realms, or if you're beginning, or not necessarily beginning, but if you're going to be beginning or you've had some experience, get with me and let's chat about having a conversation. But that being said, I want to say pros are, weeks ago when the trajectory was looking like it was, and listening to everybody else's success and the failures were understandable. If people got up there and did nothing and they were like, oh, it didn't work. I'm like, okay, that's understandable. But people that were like, hey, I'm moderately successful and I'm doing great. Like, yeah, okay, that's great. And people that were like, hey, I'm working hard, and they were like pouring in funds. I think there's some real pros for somebody doing a side thing or trying to help with a project out there. If you're trying to fund a project that's decent, that's valuable, and looking for an alternative way to work on that doesn't take a ton of time and that's residual. What do you call this? It's, to some extent, the work you put into it pays off over time. You don't have to necessarily spend a heck of a lot of time. Again, I don't want to make it sound like it's a get rich quick, do nothing scheme or something. But, as far as things go, I think it's a great sideline, a great hobby, great funding opportunity for people that I know out there could use it. But the cons are a lot of what Jeff is saying and what some people just haven't experienced. I don't want to say you guys haven't experienced it, because you guys have heard us bitch about it and complain about it. You've heard other people's, pitfalls and things, but there's just a lot of unknowns, just like anything, but it's capitalism. And to some extent, what are you doing that's safe that you can just not have any cons? So the cons are the cons that these guys have said, and the waste of time, I suppose. And that's why I hesitate to shout from the rooftops about the project. I almost did, though, so I was really close. I don't know if that answers it well enough, but feel free to, ask specific questions in here today, or if you're listening in the future, feel free to leave them in the comments here. So Mike White said, for me, there's too much fraud on Amazon. The few times someone's tried to hack my account, it was directly associated to the using Amazon. Gizzard kind of went back and forth a bit, and I think you guys kind of chatted it out, but there's that. I just wanted to use that as an illustration. Obviously, we can't comment on the situation that happened, but that is an element, that it's an online store, and although it's huge and everything, it's not perfect, and this isn't like all you need to do, follow these steps and retire. But Gizzard has a good point here. I don't live near a city where well, you can read it, Gizzard. It's your thing.
I just said I don't live near a city where shopping is easy. Having an Amazon account enables me to shop for things I wouldn't otherwise be able to easily buy and compare prices. So, in other words, if I have something I need, I don't have to wait until 2 weeks from now when I'm going to be in the big city and maybe go to 2 or 3 different stores and look for it. I can find it online. I can order it and have it sent to me and have it within a couple days, just about any time. Now, that's a blessing and a curse because it can make you spend money you might otherwise not spend. But to me, it's invaluable to have access to Amazon. And I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah, you make a great point there. And then the part about being able to compare, because yeah, you might have a hardware store that has a blender, but is that the only blender option you want when you know you can have it delivered tomorrow or the next day? You know, any blender, at least a dozen other options. And
Especially if my friend Joe says, well, I bought XYZ blender and it's great. You want to see what it looks like? Here's a link. And I can pull up the very one he looked at, the one he bought and says it's great, which is a lot of what we're doing here with these Amazon influencer videos. Like, hey, I bought this. Check it out. You might like it too. And you can take a look at that and say, yeah, that's what I've been looking for. Or you might not, it depends.
well, that's the thing is, yeah, we're not necessarily trying to sell nothing. You just have to explore, show people, share it, and then let them make a decision. The way
Right.
the system is set up is if they look at your blender and they decide, nope, I'm getting that other blender now, unless they do something else, then potentially you're going to get a cut of that other blender because you still assisted. And as they get more savvy and depending on how the system goes, they've already done stuff like if you hand off, you get a cut of a cut type of thing. So there's been things in the past where they've played with that, and depending on how it goes, they're it's easy to do numbers and things with Amazon.
But I think we help consumers to make more informed decisions about the things they buy.
And I just also want to say that, like, you bring up a point where somebody doesn't really realize, like, if you've got 75 Walmarts within walking distance, or like 75 different types of stores within walking distance, not everybody does. So the people are using Amazon a lot differently. And if you've got an intimate, understanding of how this coffee maker or this drill press works, there's somebody out there that's making that decision for the first time. And somebody else is out there that knows all about that drill press. You're not trying to teach them. You're just trying to be like, hey, you know what? This is just like the one that we used to use back in the day, or this is definitely going to be able to fit next to the toolbox without, the knob getting in the way. So half the time it's just knowing who you're speaking to about the thing and then answering the one question they want. And
Right.
and I guess to some extent that makes it sort of like a puzzle in a game. I guess that's a pro and a con, right? It's fun if you like it and you can afford to spend the time playing with that, but then at the same time, if you're trying
And
to go straight to the goal, it's annoying.
everybody's gonna do a video on a product from their point of view. I mean, Jeff could review something that I've done a video on, and his video is going to be different because he's going to probably suit it to what he finds valuable in a product. So, you might have two videos, but they're not going to be exactly the same.
Yeah, somebody could have 100 different ice cube videos up there, but you're the one sticking juice and a popsicle stick in there, right?
Right.
Smeggy asks, what's the average length of video? Feels like short is good.
Yeah, I've got, I would say a minute. Maybe my average is a minute. I think my longest might be close to 2 minutes.
I'm just going off of that Amazon page that I found when I did a search for how many people buy stuff on Amazon or something. And it's one of the stats in there is that customers complete 28% of the purchases in 3 minutes or less. Half the purchases are in less than 15 minutes. So that's kind of what we've all said, right? People aren't going there to hang out so much as do their thing, maybe spend some time looking at the shelf and going, which one of these do I want? Which is these the best deal? Which one has the right flavor or whatever? And then moving on to the next thing. Oh, we didn't think about that. But if you're
Well, and a good point that I brought up this
shit.
just to get your feedback on it real quick. So it seems like, at least at this point, a lot of my quote unquote guy stuff sells more than the quote unquote girl stuff that my wife's done, right? And there's, again, black box, who knows? But in talking with her, I'm like, it's possible. Like most guys, like I go into the store, like I've got a list. I'm grabbing this, boom, off the shelf, out my mouth, right? So guys hit Amazon, video, bam, buy it, click it, gone, right? Whereas a girl may hit Amazon and then they click that video, but then they go look at something else, and then they go look at something else, and how many videos did they click or other things along the way, right? Like, do you think that is a thing?
Could be.
I don't pretend to know enough about women to answer that intelligently.
Well, I'm just theorizing, so
Mhm.
I don't know either. That's why I'm posing the question.
Made me think though that if you put a video up about something that sells by itself, like a candy bar, or if you put up something like a hot dog bun or a potato chip, which somebody might buy a dip or a hot dog for, or a hot dog and mustard, if you're strategic, not just about what videos you put up because you'll get placement and how many sell, but are you selling barbecue things that are wood chips that are going into a Traeger grill? Instead of trying to hit the Traeger grill, you hit that other thing, and then depending on what order people put stuff in their cart, now you're playing a game of let's get the last item in the cart, and it's
Right.
the lighter fluid, or it's the
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
hot mitt or something, and somebody could have a hot mitt or the spatula, or I don't know, a tong or something, the new tong that Oprah recommended, and then boom, they're getting Traeger grill after Traeger grill after this outdoor accessory after that outdoor accessory, or they have the tablecloth, and that $25 tablecloth is bringing them in outdoor set after outdoor set, $1,000 outdoor set. Never thought about thinking about it that way. And some of the people who are living through the downturn might be sitting on, accessory products to something. Like I say, Amazon's big, so there's got to be all kinds of stuff happening there. We're getting towards the bottom of the hour. The delay can be annoying, but once you get rolling, you should have money coming in consistently. I don't know about all that. I mean, if it's going to fluctuate, it's going to fluctuate, and that can be very difficult to spend a lot of attention on. I think there's potential from what you guys said, and I put it into the chat there on our side. I think this is what Jeff was getting at earlier, is that what you're going to learn doing Amazon is beneficial for your projects in the long term, right? Like you're getting a new set of skill set, new set of understanding of your people that you're interacting with. If it's about a tent or a sleeping bag or a accessory for a car or a musical instrument or a computer part, right? Like you're getting different type of info than you would be if you made a video about that or an Instagram post. And how much more valuable are you as a marketer or as a content creator? If you could do some A/B testing or whatever it's called, I don't know the words for it all, but you could go play around with some Amazon videos, get the results of your Amazon videos, and then be better at YouTube, because now you know what people are buying on Amazon. You know what triggers people on Amazon, and what did it cost you? Nothing. You spend an afternoon splattering Amazon with 12 videos. Let's say you had 100 videos on Amazon. You're going to get, even though we don't have great analytics, you're going to get some analytics on that by both what succeeded and what was viewed. And that makes you a better YouTuber, or at least it gives you the potential to be a better YouTuber or Instagram or whatever else, right?
It certainly exposes you to a different to content that's made for a different purpose. And I think that's a really interesting thing. Like, all of us do YouTube. So for me, my mentality on YouTube is different than it is for Amazon videos, which is funny because I'm recycling all of those videos. There's another pro, is all the content that you create, maybe not all of it, but a lot of the content that I create for Amazon is going up on one of my 6 different YouTube channels, and then getting spammed out to all the places that those videos go, different platforms as well. So it is neat that there's more content being created, but I have had to learn, and I'm struggling to really wrap my head around what makes the best Amazon video versus what makes the best YouTube video. And I'll be very interested to think, you know, if I'm still doing this in a year, where have I gone? What do I do different? Because I'll tell you, one of the things that I'm learning is just make the videos. You know, every now and then stop and try to analyze some stuff. But if you even as little data as they give us, I can still spend hours looking over data. And then I think I see a little bit of a trend. So now I'm going scrolling through all of my videos on the manage video screen and trying to figure out, okay, this one's doing good. What about it's making it do good? Well, at the end of the day, I got no idea, but I'm trying to divine some trends from the data that I see. And I get lost. Like, I'm my worst enemy with that kind of thing. So, so I would say definitely you can learn a lot from it, but you got to find the balance of production versus, you know, being analytical to the point that it puts you in analysis paralysis.
I think we've hit a bunch of stuff. I don't see any other specific questions. Hopefully, this was useful for folks who may not have heard of this before, and for people that are in it to hear some experience from people that are our levels of experience with it. If you've got stuff to add to the conversation, I'll encourage you again to contact me or one of the other folks here and be part of our conversations about this stuff. We'll end it with, is it really worth the effort? Gizzard?
I think so. Otherwise, I wouldn't still be doing it. So, yeah, it is.
Clover?
Yeah, so far. I mean, I'm 4 weeks in, but yeah.
Jeff?
So far it has been, but I don't want to say terrified. That's a word that was coming to mind. I was right about to pull the trigger and make some serious investment into creating videos for this program. That then when my sales dropped to like a quarter or a third of what they were and where they were trending, those things didn't make sense anymore at all. Like, this could have been a financial disaster for me. So has it been worth it? I mean, yeah, it's been worth it. But if that cliff would have been 3 days later after I spent a bunch of money, my story would be completely different. I'd be panicked right now.
And that's valuable because I think a lot of the, I appreciate that insight because I think a lot of the get rich quick or, you know, buy our course or join our group and whatever, you know, the incentive they got going to kind of downplay the negatives. I don't want to be down on it. I certainly think it's worth your time, but I do want to be with the caveat or be realistic that it's not necessarily a payoff. But yeah, I think if you're already creating content, it's a no-brainer. It's not that difficult to incorporate this into whatever. You know, I had to turn off some stuff in order to do it. I mean, it does take time, and you can do it at any level of effort or effectiveness or whatever. And it is a bit of a puzzle or a project. You're not just, it's not a completely simple. But at the other hand, you can pretty much, I think, do anything, and you're going to get some amount of payoff, right? It's just that some strategy, some amount of effort is going to pay off more than less. But I think almost anything you do, I haven't heard anybody that, well, it's like for one guy, pretty much everybody seems like, you know, they're putting any amount of effort into it and they're getting a bit of payoff. So I don't think you're going to lose much financially. And I think it's pretty fun to see a project that's on the upside. It's been a while since there's been a phenomenon on the internet that's like on the upside for benefit out of your time. And I think there's some pretty good benefit out of your time here. And that being said, I don't want to get anybody to waste their time. So if you're frustrated or if you're efforting to have enough time for what you're doing now, and you don't want to sacrifice what you're doing now, and I definitely cannot. Well, I'm going to hesitate to say, you know, it's all that, but almost could have. So, but I think what Gizzard's saying off air there, some of the other attention that's given to this whole concept is the idea that you can get a lot of money because there is a lot of money to be made. But I think we've kind of alluded to some of the weird practices that are done to do that. You know, like anything, you can abuse a situation or you can exploit like weird loopholes or whatever. And that can be done for a while, but you jeopardize your standing in with the company over time, or with the relationship with the people that you're maybe sending bad links to or something. So, but anyway,
Well, a lot of what I was saying was there's different thoughts as to how to approach this. Some people are actually buying things from Amazon for the purpose of doing reviews because of the potential sales, where my approach is just basically to review the everyday things I buy and have around my house. I've never specifically bought anything for the purpose of doing a review, and right now I don't see myself doing that. Some people will, some people won't. That's just the way I approach it.
yeah, I think we took that for granted, or assumed that because we're familiar with this. So part of the game, one of the bigger plays in this is to, just like if you went to a casino and your goal was to bring, $50,000 worth of quarters, you're probably going to walk out of there with more than $50,000. I guess, I don't know. That's the strategy. So there's some people there, they're going to, play this differently. They might buy $1,000 or way more worth of products every month to review, and then just have a lot of videos up there or whatever. So you're right, there's different levels of scale. So I didn't want to get too far into that, but people are going to see that as an explanation of this whole thing. Like, oh, here's the way that you make a bunch of money. You buy $1,000 worth of stuff, and then you're going to make $2,000 worth of revenue, and then you're
But
gonna
yeah,
make
if you're
revenue.
doing that, then what Jeff says is completely valid. I mean, there's a risk versus reward in that case. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. When the
Mhm.
mechanism stops, it's everybody sits down, and you're the one left there with $30,000 worth of product.
Right, right, right.
Now not worth much. But without getting into all of that, I'd still think, again, for most people that we know or people that might be stumbling across this, it's an interesting element of the way the internet's going, and Amazon's kind of step into their approach to the TikTok, to the Instagram Live, to the YouTube Shorts, and to that extent, it's a phenomenon. Except that it's one that, well, I think it's definitely worth. Well, not definitely. It's potentially worth your time, with the caveat that if you got the time to spend on it. All right. Hopefully that worked for everybody, and it wasn't just a waste of everybody's time. But we'll now take some time to chat off air. And if you'd like to be part of a future one of these, for both the on air and off air part of it, you know where to get a hold of us. Thanks for watching. You guys want to plug anything on the way out? I guess I should give you a minute to do that.
Yeah.
Nope.
All right. We'll see you after a while.